On today's show, about 30% of the way through the season, what's the next step, the next move for Jason Kidd to make for the Mavs to go to the next level? We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Amazing.
Your team every day.
Still can't leave me open. Can't leave me open.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Thanks for being in every day or making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. Subscribe to our free Locked On Mavs newsletter, your one stop for the best news and analysis on the Dallas Mavericks, sent straight to your inbox every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood Gold. They provide the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold today. And joining me, as always, my co-host, media member, the 30% thought, the one more thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
All right, we're getting close to Christmas. Are you done with all your Christmas shopping?
Yes.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're one of those?
Yep. I also shrink my list. I shrink it.
Okay.
I don't expect gifts from a lot of people, and I don't give gifts to a lot of people. It's like,
All the hosts on the network. You're like,
yeah.
Here's the off-centered Locked On hat. I will gift this.
I'm not giving one to you. This is mine. I'm not giving this to you.
I want one of those hats.
I know you want a hat.
It's Nike too.
Are you done with your shopping?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Today's episode, we're going to get into some big questions about the Mavericks about 30% of the way through the season. We'll talk about the best addition from the offseason. We had a lot of opinions this offseason. We'll talk about how that's changed. I want to talk about who or what has surprised you the most so far this season, the three most important players on the Mavs, and then we'll ask the question, has Klay Thompson been better or worse than you expected? But let's start here, Isaac Harris. Then Jason Kidd's next move to take this team to the next level. The Mavericks are playing really well, despite the last game against OKC. Let's just block that one out of our minds.
Yeah, it's OKC. I mean,
I know it's a tough one. They're playing really well. They played well through adversity. The Mavs, it will be 41 days, great number, between when the Mavs last had 2 consecutive home games in a row. They've been on the road for so long, it feels like, not playing in the same place for 41 days. Because now they're going to play an away game Sunday at Golden State. We'll have a post-game show after that one for sure. And then they'll play 2 games at home against LA, a game against Portland, a game against Minnesota, all at home. That's Christmas Day. Finally, they're going to be home. So I think this team has battled adversity. They battled injuries. Luka's been out, Kyrie, PJ, Lively. They've found that they've lost a bunch of clutch games. They've found their way here. And so now, to me, when I thought about this question, what's Jason Kidd's next move to take this team to the next level? Like, what does he have to do? What puzzle does he have to solve to take them to another level? The first thing I thought of was getting the most out of Luka off ball. I think that's been one change that we've seen this season that's been a little bit different than past seasons. Last season, I feel like it was to get Luka to play faster, to get the team to play faster. They wanted to speed up the pace, get more out in transition. They did that. They were successful in that. This year, it's getting Luka to play off the ball just a little more. His usage is the lowest it's been since his rookie year. That number actually kind of surprised me. 32% is his usage right now. It was 36% last year. That was number 1 in the NBA. 37% the year before that. That was, I think, tied or close to number 1 in the NBA. Year before that, 2022 was 37%. That was number 1 in the NBA. 2021 was 36%, number 1 in the NBA. Now he's like 5th in the NBA. So still really high up there, but he's handling the ball less. And I think that's been an adjustment that Luka has had to deal with. That Kidd has now become a puzzle for Kidd to solve to get this team to move to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, this was something Kidd talked about previously. Like, hey, this is something we want to do to try to kind of reduce Luka's workload moving forward. Is like, let's try to get him playing more off ball to where he doesn't have to bring the ball up the floor as much. Get him in some actions off the ball. You know, Luka's not, I wouldn't say the most active cutter in the world, but you can get him in some actions, and we've seen that a lot more. NBA University had a tweet the other day that I thought was fascinating about this. they tweeted out and was like, hey, these are the leaders in the league in unassisted baskets this season. And Luka wasn't even in the top 10 of that. And you go back and you look at his percentages over the past 4 years. In 2021, Luka's percentage of unassisted baskets was at 86%. And 22 and
86%. He's doing it on his own. Nobody's setting him up. It's him. Like,
yeah, in 2022, it was at 86% again. In 2023, it was at 85%. In 2024, it was at 78%. And right now, it's at 66%.
Wow. That's lower than I even thought.
Of his that are unassisted this season. And it just goes to show you, it's a great tweet by the NBA University account. And it just shows you how much of an effort that they're trying to make, that it's not just the eye test, right? Like we've seen, if you're watching all the games and every single minute of Mavs basketball like we are, you've noticed it, that Luka doesn't have the ball as much when he's playing. But you see a number like that and you're like, oh, they're like making a big effort to try to preserve Luka a little bit and get him playing off the ball.
Yeah, and that's been an adjustment for them. And that's been an adjustment for Luka. He said that after the Warriors game. He was asked, what's the biggest adjustment you have to make to playing off the ball? And Luka said, just overall, just not playing with the ball in my hands. Just all of it, which is like a classic Luka answer of not saying a lot. But he could have also said, it's not a problem. I'm not worried about it. It's fine.
Well, you got to think about, he
has done in the past.
Yeah, he's been a pro since he's 13. And yes, I get it. He played with Sergio and Goran, like these, these other guards and stuff. I get that. He's played with other point guards, but still, he has like been a primary ball handler for his whole life. And he's still going to do that. He's still like, when it push comes to shove and it's the playoff time and it's the clutch, like it's what?
Oh, keep going.
It's going to be Luka. Like, they're going to be giving the ball to Luka, and that's who you want. It's like him or Kyrie at this point. So that's the thing, is like, I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's more of a long-term approach. And honestly, I don't see the reason to change it because they're one of the best teams in the NBA. We know all of his stat lines and stuff right now as far as counting numbers. So why not try to preserve him a little bit more and keep doing this as long as you're winning games?
I was thinking right in the middle of that, was where I made that face.
I noticed.
He's in year 7. We're getting close to Luka has been the number one in the NBA in usage longer than he was at Real Madrid in general. Like we're getting close to that number if he started at 13, 14. And so it will be an adjustment for him to change his ways and to change how he's played and how he's been very successful, right? That probably messes with an athlete's mind to be like, you've been very successful in this. You've been close to an MVP. You've been, the leading scorer in the NBA. Your team has gone to the NBA finals. You've been to another Western Conference finals. You've found success in the NBA doing this, made 6 first team All NBAs, like insane. And now you're going to change what you're going to do and become something different. And so I think that's why it's Jason Kidd's next puzzle to figure out is how do you get the most out of him? How do you get Luka to engage off the ball a little bit more and put him in some of those actions? Because I think that the Mavs spacing has kind of struggled at times because they've always got like a rolling center. They don't play 5 out as often as you'd hope because of how Maxey has been and the other options on the floor. And because Lively and Gafford are so good that you got to play them. And so you've got to get something else going with Luka, Kyrie, Klay, whoever else is on the perimeter there. And I think that's the next thing for Kidd to figure out.
Yeah, I think a lot of their stuff, this season, when I was looking at this question that you gave me for the Kidd thing to figure out, I was like, all right, you just like look at some of the numbers and even like the 3-point attempts for the team, it's lower. They're in the low 20s. But it goes back to the conversation we've been having. Like they're taking what the defense is giving them, and for I know not every team's the same, but with 30% through the season, and a lot of teams are staying home on the Mavs shooters and daring the Lukas and Kyries of the world of saying, you know what, we'll kind of let you do your thing. So that's kind of like, I don't know if he has to really figure out like 3-point shooting or something like that. Yeah. Like, he's got to figure out how to generate more threes. I think that will come if other teams start shifting their defensive approach, because right now, once again, they're winning a ton of basketball games. They're one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, right. But how do they get to that next level, beat the OKCs and, win more games than they are right now and then win the playoffs? It's one of those things. So coming up, got one more thing with Jason Kidd's move, but then what was the best offseason move the Mavs made? Now that we've got about 30% of the season, is it Klay Is it Naji? Is it my boy Quentin Grimes?
Is
or
it
was
Portman?
it Dinwiddie? We'll talk about that and more coming up.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25 APY. That's very good. On uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply for product-specific disclosures. Visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate you and every one of you for checking out the show. We have a daily newsletter. You can subscribe by going to the link in the description or checking the QR code. You can also subscribe to be a Locked On Mavs insider. Text us. You get text straight from me and Isaac. I try to respond to as many questions as I get throughout the day, and then we'll send notes on game days, and Isaac will do mailbags and all kinds of stuff like that. Help support the show. Subscribe to be a Locked On Mavs insider. Again, check the QR code, link in the description. All right, Isaac, I got one more thing for you. I know that's your thing.
Hello.
Today it's mine. Jason Kidd, I think one of his next puzzles to solve is getting Luka to figure out how he leads and getting him to that level. Because we saw Luka be more of a leader last season, and I think this season we haven't seen it as much. We've seen Kyrie definitely be a leader. We've seen him step up in that role and be in that spot. And I think getting Jason Kidd to be a coach and to figure out how Luka leads his team, because I don't know that he leads like Dirk used to, right? I don't know that he's the lead by example. Everybody follow me. I'm going to do everything right to the T. You know, like I'm going to have everything, all my ducks in a row kind of deal. I don't think he's that. I don't think he's the rah Draymond Green. I'm going to be like, you know, I'm going to scream at everybody, and then like he's not that kind of leader. So it's help him get this next stage of his career and figure out how he leads a team. And I think that would help this team get to another level too.
Yeah, I mean, this is the next level for Luka, that he, you know, when you are the best player on the team and you are the cornerstone player, the MVP candidate, whether you are the natural leader or not of the team, like Kyrie is the leader of the Mavs,
Yeah,
as far as in the locker room and all the stuff. But when you're the best player, you hold this weight of like, you still got, like, people watch you, like,
Yep.
and the team, you know, sorry if I'm getting her name wrong. Met, I think it's Met. Maybe.
I think so, yeah.
Correct me. Who wrote a great piece on Mavs Moneyball about body language, and used some quotes and stuff with, you know, Jason Kidd. I mean, with Kevin Durant and Monty Williams and Mo Salah and different stuff about just the impact of body language, and then the energy that it brings from your teammates,
Yes.
that constantly having to pick up your star player and trying to keep them into the game emotionally. And that's why, you know, my biggest thing for Luka is at some point he has to decide whether he's going to take that next step to emotionally mature on the basketball floor, both with his leadership, body language, complaining, effort, like all that different stuff that sometimes I think he just gets too wrapped up into. So, but I don't think it's this season specific. This has been an ongoing conversation of like something they have to try to figure out long term, what type of leader he can be. But yeah, and a lot of it at some point is just on Luka deciding that. And we're in year 7, so
I think every superstar has that moment in his career where, how do I go from great to legendary, right? How do I go from where I'm right now, where I can come out and maybe I can win an MVP, to I'm going to win MVPs every year, right? LeBron turned it on, and all of a sudden he's winning MVPs every year. Jokic has turned it on, and now he's winning MVPs every year. Now, number one again. Luka can get to that level. I fully believe Luka can get to that level. He's that good. He can be there. And so if he's that good, then that level, that expectation is there for him, and he can get there. So, yeah, I think that's another thing for.
I had another small thing for Jason Kidd as far as like a problem or thing to figure out. I think he needs to figure out how to get Lively to be less aggressive on his man-to-man defense
Mm.
and how to defend in the right, in the right position and the right decision making. And once again, it's, a lot of this is on, Lively just maturing and being in the league longer and learning players and traits and all the stuff. But I think this is one because they have to have Dereck Lively. And we've seen in the playoffs, like Gafford is a lot of fun. He's having a great season, but we also seen him in the playoffs last year and where he got played off the floor. So they're going to have Dereck Lively being like a really good version of Dereck Lively. And in order to do that, you got to be able to stay on the floor. And he's at around like 3 fouls a game, but that's kind of deceiving a little bit. So he's just,
Well, three fouls in 23 minutes,
That's another thing too. You start looking at players that I was looking at earlier about players that's averaging like 3 fouls a game and above that are playing, at least 23 minutes. You get somebody like a Sabonis that's also averaging over 3 fouls a game, but they're playing like 35 minutes.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And so he's got to figure this thing out. So, but that's like a small thing that kids got to help Lively with.
Yep. You got like at the bottom of that list, it's Donovan Clingan playing 17 minutes a game. Rookie Zach Edey, rookie playing 20 minutes a game. Isaiah Stewart, 22 minutes a game. Aaron Nesmith has not played that much, and then Lively. That's the bottom list as far as who's averaging
pretty high foul per minute. Yeah,
2.8 fouls per game and more, and then the lowest amount of minutes. That's the list right there.
Yep.
The best addition from the offseason so far is.
I think it's really close for me between Naji.
Oh, it wasn't close for me.
It's really close for me between Naji and Klay, because I think Klay's doing a lot of things that people are not appreciating right now.
Like what?
The spacing. I think there's a lot of stuff spacing wise with Klay that opens up the rest of the team that causes the other players to stay home and allows the Luka and Kyries of the world to get into the paint, that allows a Naji Marshall, that allows a PJ Washington whenever they're making these decisions. And now you have not just Kyrie and Luka, now you have Klay, and you can't leave any of those three. Is it a coincidence that PJ's playing some of his best basketball whenever so it's just, I think that spacing, you can't measure it with a number. So it's hard for people to really fully appreciate that. But Klay still shooting 37% from three. His right corner shooting is absolutely insane. Sucking from the left corner. I get that. But his numbers playing with Luka, I mean, it is really good. You bring Klay in to do these things, to be a catch and shoot 3-point shooter, to play really well alongside Luka, and to provide space to open up more of the offense. And he's doing all three of those things. So I'm kind of getting into the Klay, better, whatever.
Well, let's do it right now then.
But for me, I'm honestly right down the middle, because he's doing exactly what I expected of him. This is exactly what I expect of Klay. I think he's, yes, he's been not shooting 50% or 45% over the past, 3 or 4 weeks, but it's overall for 30% through the season, I'll take, a lot of the numbers he has.
He's been a little worse than I expected.
Really?
Yeah, just a little, not a lot. I think the percentage from three has not been as great. He's taking more forced shots than I expected from him, but
the shot diet is we got to work on that some.
He's still getting integrated in the offense, I think. I mean, 30% of the way through the season, he's played 21 games so far. Maybe that's enough to know, but he's also played with a bunch of different looks. He's played with Luka, without, with Kyrie, without. He's playing, he's really struggling those games without Luka. He also doesn't get a shot on his own as much as I thought, which I just thought would be a little bit, a little more, 1 or 2 times a game, and it just doesn't.
See, I didn't expect that of him.
That just hasn't been there. I thought maybe just every once in a while I thought he could get it, and that has not been there. And then, but his defense has been as good as I expected.
Yeah,
and all that.
Not first team all defense, but it's but he's not getting.
He can play his role. He's smart, smart defender, stays down, all that. But yeah, back to the offseason edition. It's not close to me for me. It's not.
I'm with you. I'm with you. It's Naji. I give Naji it's a closer thing for me, but it's Naji. Yeah.
The fact that Naji filled in when Luka was gone and played and scored 20 points all those times, and has been a go get a bucket guy when they needed one. Even in that OKC game, nobody else could get anything going on offense, it felt. And then all of a sudden, here comes Naji running down the court and getting a bucket has been awesome. And that's been maybe a surprising thing, but definitely he's been the best addition so far.
Oh,
right, especially for at the price, for the role that they're asking him to play and all that considered, that's been the best for me.
Go look up some of Naji's shot chart stuff when it comes to in the paint, around the basket, in that 15, 18 foot range. This is the definition of I was unfamiliar with your game, like with that. You heard a lot about, hey, Naji's more than a 3-and-D guy. Yeah, he can put the ball on the floor. His assist numbers are really good if you dig into him. Like, you would hear a lot of that whenever they first signed him, and it's like, oh, he's going to be a sneaky good signing if you get him. And then the Mavs got him, and then all the basketball nerds are like, dude, great, like great signing. What surprised me though is his finishing right in the paint.
Yeah,
like this isn't like the touch. I mean, we watched Dennis Smith Jr. lay bricks on floaters, for a little bit, and. I mean,
DSJ catching this straight.
I love Dennis, but it's like some players just have the touch around the basket and some players don't. And
Justin
Naji,
Jackson,
best floater
in NBA history.
But Naji's finishing ability sometimes are in the paint, and sometimes I'm like, no, all right,
yeah,
cool.
It's the no yes shot for the Mavs right now.
It goes in, and yeah, to your point, he filled in for Luka offensively, and I never would have expected that.
And he's only shooting 31% from three, only taking 2.6 like that. His 3-point shot has just come along the last couple of weeks here, and so maybe that's something that could even take him to another level. But yeah, he's been great so far. Best offseason addition to me so far this season. Coming up, the 3 most important players for the Mavericks are Luka, Kyrie, and whom? There's some candidates. I'll tell you which one is the right one coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with America's #1 sportsbook. It's FanDuel. NFL, they have NBA as well. They have college basketball. They have soccer. They have UFC, tennis, MLB. What kind of MLB odds do they have right now? I don't even want to look. I don't even care enough.
Juan Soto paychecks.
Yeah, I'm on the MLB to do that. The NBA Cup odds, they got those. NBA Finals, Celtics plus 195, Thunder plus 380, Knicks plus 1,100, Mavs plus 1,300. So the Mavs are 4th still for finals odds. That makes sense.
Let's go.
That tracks with where we are right now. Second best odds for who's going to be in the finals, Celtics Mavs rematch plus 1,200.
Good.
Feel good about that one. Go check out FanDuel. See what's available for you on that page. And when you get started, you can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
All right, Isaac, let's finish off here. Grimes doesn't get any mention for best offseason edition. Dinwiddie.
He's been good. Like, that's the thing. Like, none of them's been bad. Like, it's been.
Dinwiddie was bad to start the season.
Well, okay. Yes. True.
And then he's been great.
But man, yeah, the streak that Dinwiddie's on is playing really good basketball. It's not, and the thing, I could go on a whole Dinwiddie thing, but like the thing about Dinwiddie is for the longest time, it's about Dinwiddie's like scoring and like shooting, creation, all that stuff. And he's been doing that fine, but it's been the playmaking for him that's been like, it's like he's like literally said, I'm going to embrace this role. This is the role I have to play to be playing on a really good team. And he's doing it really, really well. Grimes too. Yeah. I mean, they're all 4 playing really good.
Dinwiddie, last 12 games he's played, 12 points a game, shooting 43% from 3, 90% from the free throw line, and going there 3.6 times a game, which is big for the Mavs.
Let's go.
4.2 assists per game. Huge. Less than 1 turnover. That's massive. What, 4.2 assists? Like the Mavs they need playmaking from somewhere.
I thought you were trying to do like an impression.
No.
Huge.
4.2 assists to less than 1 turnover is big. He's been playing 25 minutes. He's just been really great. And to me, our next question was going to be who has surprised you the most so far on the Mavs? And it's been Dinwiddie, the arc of Dinwiddie. Oh. Because this is the Dinwiddie I thought we would see, and we didn't see it at the beginning, and now it's been back. So I was like, I had that post a while ago where I was like, man, I feel so stupid for believing in Dinwiddie so much at the beginning of the season. And then felt stupid for not believing in him. And now I feel stupid again for it's like going back and forth. And just his whole arc this season has been surprising to me. I just didn't expect that. And maybe I should have him coming back and learning a new system again, I guess.
I've loved the confirmation bias on both sides. Of like when they first signed him, it's like, dude, look, he's going to be great because of these reasons. Then he sucked. And it's like, did you not see the Lakers? He sucked with the Lakers. Yeah. And now he's back good. It's like, see, we're not using him. And yeah.
Yeah. What's been the most surprising thing for you so far?
The increase in player fan culture and the battling of it. Between the fan. Nah, I mean,
no, yeah, you're going full off court.
I mean, I could go. I feel like stan culture of players, in particular, in with the Mavs, with Kyrie and Luka stands, like the battle of that. It feels like that is like increased this year, and that's been that's been a little surprising to me. But I think stan culture in general, it's not just the Mavs. I think stan culture for a specific players has gotten so much bigger. It's something fascinating that I'm like, I don't know, I've been thinking a lot about. On the court,
Isaac just wrote Dear Stan. Just
on the court, it's all the stuff I said about Naji, like the finishing in the paint. Like that's the most surprising thing to me. I didn't know he had that. And I'm not watching every single Pelicans game, but a lot of the stuff I've seen, like you're like, oh, okay, that's what you heard about, you've seen and stuff. But that the finishing ability and some of the scoring stuff, that's surprised me.
That has been great for sure. That has been great. Yeah. So Dinwiddie's arc, Naji's finishing for sure. The three most important players on the Dallas Mavericks are, I think we can both agree, Luka, then Kyrie.
Yep.
Number 3 to me is clearly PJ Washington.
I was gonna say I think it's pretty clear all three, and I give two reasons why I think PJ is clear cut number 3. They're 15-4 when PJ plays.
It's great.
Pretty good number. And he's the least replaceable player on, like, as far as the starting lineup. Like, you could go across the team. It's like, yes, the drop off from Luka to Dinwiddie. I mean, there's a huge drop off, but like they've won games with that.
But like Kyrie steps up into Luka's spot, it's like
exactly.
who steps up into PJ's spots? Like Naji. Well,
but
in a way.
What about some of those Omax moments, though?
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the Omax minutes.
Dude, you couldn't tell me nothing the other night. I was feeling it.
The PJ one is PJ being the third most important player is a little surprising in that here's where we
roster makeup though.
Sure, but here's where we were in the offseason. We did a board bet on PJ Washington. Will he start every single game he plays? Mm-hmm. And you and I were split. And you guys listening were split. 54% said yes, he'll start every game. That means 46% of everyone listening said that he wouldn't start every single game he plays, meaning he would come off the bench at some point.
I was in that 46%.
And that to me is that's where people were. They're like almost 50-50 on how important he was, or that he was one of the most important players on the team. And now you just see he's irreplaceable. The things that are irreplaceable about him, though, the size and the length at the 4 position, he's just bigger than Naji, longer wingspan than Naji, and it can, do more things at that spot. His ability to defend one-on-one is better than anybody else on the team, and that's irreplaceable. His ability to get his own bucket in a post-up or taking advantage of that, we've talked about. He's going to have the 4th worst perimeter defender on him. He's been able to take advantage of that a couple of times. And, yeah, then every once in a while hitting a 3. He's shooting 36% now. He's got that up. I mean, he's just been really good across the board, and it's been awesome to watch.
The only other one that I would be like is Dereck Lively, but you have Gafford.
That's what I would have said in the offseason was him. I would have said Lively was the 3rd most.
Yeah, Gafford just played so well. I think the question would be who's the 3 most important players for the playoffs. I think it would be a little closer than between PJ and Lively. But I think you'd still have to say PJ just because all the wings you go after.
When PJ plays almost 10 more minutes than Lively does, it's like almost a whole quarter.
Yeah,
that's big too.
Oh, I thought you had another question. I'm sorry.
Nobody else gets close to most important
besides Omax?
Not most important to you as a person.
To my heart. That's but no. I mean, I mean, no one provides the spacing like Klay does. Like Klay's not, I mean, Grimes isn't as respected as like a Klay Thompson is on the perimeter, but like still, like it's just not the same as like replacing, PJ and Lively at that point. So that's why this is why they have to figure out that backup 4 spot.
Yeah, huge
over the next month. Like this is when it comes to any of the trade rumors and all the different stuff. And while we said a million times, we've talked about Jimmy Butler. If you're just now listening to the podcast this week and you haven't listened all week, like go back, listen. We've done trade stuff, Jimmy Butler stuff. And it's like, I don't feel like they're going to mess with this team a lot. They're winning a lot of games. Like this team is like, this is what you like go and try to build. Like this is going great, but they got to figure out that backup 4 spot. And that goes into why PJ's so.
Which is either a new player, it's Maxey figuring it out, it's Omax figuring it out, or it's playing a new way, right? Maybe they play. Maybe they play. It was for one game, or maybe they play smaller and do that, or something like that. And find out a different way to play.
I mean, the other night they started Klay at the 4 because they started
Yeah.
Grimes with Kyrie and Luka.
Right. I don't know that that's the answer, but
I don't know.
But
I don't
that's
think
a different way to play.
Yeah, it is.
To space more. There you go, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. We'll have one more thing talking about where the Mavs stand in the West, so go check that out. We'll also have post-game show for the Sunday game against the Warriors. That's a new game that's been added because of the in-season tournament. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Check the QR code for different ways to follow the show. Stick with us for the rest of the week. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.